Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 3 and our 4-part series of the Web ROI Tip of the Week on search engine optimization from the MozCon conference that we recently attended. Last week, we talked about the state of SEO in 2020. If you missed it, you can follow this link and have a listen. And this week, we're going to be talking about the importance of Google My Business for local search engine optimization. We've touched on it a couple times already in this series, and we've also had tip of the weeks on Google My Business in the past. So I hope you're starting to understand that that's probably one of the most important aspects of all your online search engine optimization to help your business get found and get good positive results from search engines. Today we have Charlie Ford joining us again. Welcome, Charlie.
Hello, thank you.
Charlie's our in-house specialist who leads our SEO team. Charlie, just jumping right back into it now. First of all, we've talked before about the importance of Google My Business, but let's reiterate, explain why Google My Business listings play such a big part in search engine optimization and ranking businesses locally on the first page of Google.
Google My Business is hugely important, especially for local search, which is what kind of a lot of smaller, medium-sized businesses around here specialize in. So it's hugely important to optimize your service area, make sure you can fill out everything possible in that profile, add images, request reviews from happy clients, try to get as many reviews as you can. Of course, positive reviews are better. So Google My Business is probably the #1 ranking factor for local search.
Excellent. How does an effectively optimized Google My Business listing, how does that impact the organic ranking of the website pages themselves in the search engine results pages?
It's all kind of tied together. If Google sees that your Google My Business is properly optimized, you're getting traffic from that traffic is going to those website pages, then Google will be able to determine, okay, these pages are important, they're useful, people are finding it, they're staying on it for X amount of time. As a result, you'll see those traditional organic links climb up in the rankings as well.
Pretend that I'm a 5-year-old. You indicated the difference between implicit and explicit search queries. So pretend that I have no idea what you're talking about, because much of our audience genuinely doesn't, and we want to make this very easy for them to understand. Why, can you tell us like what you mean by implicit, explicit search queries? Why is that important, and what specific recommendations and actions should business owners and marketers take relating to their Google My Business listing?
So an implicit query or an implicit search just kind of implies that you're looking for something near you. So for example, if you're searching grocery store, Google understands that you're looking for grocery stores in your area. An example of an explicit query would be grocery stores in Milton, for example. And they're slightly different for the most part. Well, firstly, on both results, you're going to see that local map pack with the 3 local listings. For the most part, those are going to be similar. Where you'll likely see the difference is in the 10 traditional organic links below that. For the explicit search, where you explicitly state the area that you're in, you'll see results that are much more localized, where for that implicit query, where you don't state your area, you'll see results that are much more general.
So putting that in the world that we tend to play a lot in would be like landscapers. So if I own a property, which I do in St. Catharines, but I'm in Milton and I'm looking for landscaping service, I've got a property there that needs a significant yard cleanup because there's a lot of overgrown landscaping. So if I searched yard cleanup generically, like implicitly, without specifying the town that I'm looking for, Google recognizes that I'm in Milton, and it assumes correctly that I would probably be looking for a company local that would be able to come and clean up my yard, right?
Exactly.
But if I'm looking for something in St. Catharines, I need to specify St. Catharines, and that will signal to Google that I'm looking for something locally there, and therefore the local search results are going to be significantly different than what I'm going to see in my own backyard just by adding that term in.
Right, and even if, for example, you were searching explicitly for the area that you're actually in, so you said you're in Milton now, even if you were searching for example, landscapers Milton, the local map listings, the Google My Business listings that you see on the explicit versus implicit are going to be very similar. It's the organic results below that which are going to differ quite a bit.
Now, historically, we've been doing this for 15 years now, so I've seen SEO sort of evolve over the years, and um, companies used to celebrate ranking for auto shop Milton, right? But in Milton, if no one's searching the word auto shop Milton, they would just type in auto shop. Being optimized for auto shop Milton, you might be the #1 listing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to rank at all for the implicit search term auto shop, right?
Right.
Or
It doesn't.
does it? Like, maybe you can talk more about that in terms of, like, to me, it seems that SEO is not as easy as it used to be. You can't just plop, a keyword in a town on your H1 or title tag anymore and expect that that's really going to bring the result, because users now are more and more inclined to not use their location name, because they recognize that Google does have an understanding of implicit, explicit search queries. So maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, exactly. And from an SEO standpoint, as far as tracking where you are, it's really important nowadays to look at both explicit and implicit queries, just to make sure you're taking care of both. In a lot of cases, just doing keyword research and that kind of thing, where I can see what the monthly search volumes are. Those implicit queries without a location explicitly mentioned tend to have quite a bit more search volume. So it's important to optimize for both. And if you are optimizing your website for auto shop Milton, for example, odds are you're going to rank pretty highly too for the implicit query. So it's not like you have to pick one or the other. They work hand in hand quite a bit of the time.
So if my website is well optimized for auto shops Milton, the likelihood is that the implicit search for auto shops in Milton is going to bring up that result.
Absolutely. As long as your website and your Google My Business profile are properly optimized.
And then what if I'm a company that's in, like, Campbellville, a suburb, like a small town that's part of Milton, but not necessarily local to Milton? Like, would a Milton auto shop show up if I'm in Campbellville and search for an auto shop?
In that case, what you would probably want to do is optimize your content on page for auto shop Milton, because it's kind of the biggest area that's close. But you'd probably also rank pretty well just for auto shop implicitly in your area in Campbellville.
And were there any other specific actions that you would recommend that marketers take or business owners take relating to their Google My Business listings?
Like I've said before this week and previously, just fill it out as much as possible, ask for reviews, and everything like that. Update with notable changes and events, make sure your hours are as accurate as possible. Really just treat it like your virtual storefront.
Awesome. Well, Charlie, thanks very much for sharing your insight again this week. I want to invite everybody to tune in next week, as we're going to be talking in our final week of the search engine optimization series about moving targets, keywords in crisis. In particular, how COVID and other changes in the industry this year are impacting how you're ranking for specific keywords in the search engines. So please come back and tune into that. And Charlie, once again, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and expertise today. And we look forward to hearing from you again next week.